Hi guys, welcome back to the shop. Hey, we're getting to the point where we're going to need to shove something in the hole here and hope that it works. But the matter of fact is, this one does not work. So we're going to have to do something. I've been thinking about this project for a while, and it just, I've always had enough bulbs. This is the one that came out of it. It's not a factory. It looks like it's a replacement bulb ring and everything. But that shouldn't be a player because it does fit. It's just an aftermarket. It was probably an aftermarket complete unit. You can still buy some of those. I think you can buy them as the bucket and everything. But most of them out there these days are 12 volt. So we're kind of out of luck with the 6 volt stuff. They used to do that, I think, but there just probably isn't a whole lot of call for it anymore. But anyhow, I've thought about this, and I've had people ask me, and I just feel like I'm way behind the power curve on everything as far as the headlights thing goes. People want to be able to ride at night and be able to see where they're going, and I get it. These old 6 volt systems, even when they were new and at their best, were they were not good, and they were not best at all. A lot of people convert to 12 volt, and if you're going to ride at night, that's the best thing to do. I haven't done it. I may get there eventually, but it's just not something I've wanted to pursue. I kind of like to try to stay with the original stuff with the bikes. I don't necessarily do concourse restorations. I'm just not geared that way anymore anyway. I used to do them, and it just got to be such a hassle. You're spending so much time researching this thing and that thing and looking for parts and whatnot. Nobody wants to pay you for that. They don't want to pay you for your time. And you can just barely get them to pay you for the work that you do. And they're always complaining how expensive that is. But that aside, I just don't do them that way anymore. I do a refreshing, or I may build one from scratch or something like that. And I like to try to keep things as original as I can, but I'm just not going to go crazy with it. It's just not what I want to do, and it is too expensive. So you've got to really have deep pockets to do that. So I want to go over this today. I'm going to convert from an incandescent to a halogen, and I've actually got an incandescent that won't fit in one of the rings that I have, but it's not a factory ring. So I'll have to clearance it a little bit, and that's not a big issue. But I don't have the factory stuff. Everything that I've got is in use right now. So we're just going to do what we can with what we've got. So let's follow along here and see if I can get one done. Okay guys, thanks a lot. Don't forget to thumbs up. Okay guys, this bulb here was in the DT175, and it's no good. It's burnt out. And this one was in something else. This is actually a 4020. You can use these for incandescent type replacement. Sometimes you got to modify them a little bit. In this case, I had to modify, you probably won't be able to see it, but just had to grind a little bit off of this right here, right down here at the bottom, to get that in. And once I did that, I was able to go ahead and use the little spring clips to hold it in there. You just want to make sure that you've got your top to the top. And you can do this with, you may have to modify things a little bit, but a 40-20 on a 6-volt, you should be able to get in there just about any time. So this one here, I'm going to put back in the DT. This one is the one that came out, and it's blown. And you just want to make sure, so you, before you do any damage that you can't reverse. And you can see here on the dial, or on the fluke meter, I'm not getting anything. So that one is gone. And what the other thing you want to do is you want to check to see if this is metal. Okay. Now some of these will be soldered in back here. And you can kind of see here where the bulb is, but the bulb is huge. The bulb is bigger than this hole is. So you can do a couple different things. You can probably heat this up and pull it out, but you may risk breaking the bulb. It's glued into this piece right here. Or you can just open it up back here and stick something in there and break the bulb and then pull it out. The bulb itself, the glass part, is what's big. So I personally haven't done this. I've watched some people do it, and there's different things you can do to different ones. But what I've got in mind is to use an I believe this is a H4 halogen bulb. I think these work okay. This is a 6-volt one. Some of the LED stuff, some people have trouble getting it to work, and I think it's just because of the old system. But I don't know that, and I'm not even sure the halogen will work. But I'm going to go ahead and take this loose back here. I was trying to grab it with a pair of dikes, and it's just not. Oh, there it is. There it is. I got that one. Maybe if I get down here closer to the bottom where I can kind of grab it. There we go. I wasn't getting anywhere a while ago. I was going to chisel it off, but I just got here and pried that one out of there. Got a rubber seal here, it appears. Okay, I think the bulb broke. Yep, okay. Now somehow the big part of the globe is still in here. Okay, so we've got to get that over the hole. And we're getting some stuff out of it all right. But somehow we've got to get a hold of that. Let's see, let me get some hemostats. Okay, let's see if I can get a hold of it. I need it to turn upside down. It's not going to. Okay, let me just poke at it and see if I can break it up. Yeah. That looks like the best way. Of course, be careful you don't break your main glass up here. Got just kind of one big piece left. I think I got it. Yeah. I believe that's it. Okay, so we'll get rid of all this other stuff here. Now I'm sure there'll be a piece I won't get, and I'll put my elbow in it. Okay, so that's out. And this thing here, I think we're going to have to do some mutilation here. That bulb, I believe, will go in there, but I think we really need to make this a little bigger. And we don't need this piece. I've heard, people gluing them in with some epoxy. You don't want to touch these things, but it will go in there. But it needs to go in further than that. So it looks like we probably need to take this this piece here off. So let me take a look at this and see if I can get her done. Okay, I think what I'll do is just try to sand it off with my little sanding disc here. Okay, I've got all the little hold downs off, so we'll keep going. Okay, I've got that ground down. Probably easier and less damage inducing doing it that way than trying to use a whiz wheel on it. We'll just blow all the stuff out of it. And I think we're going to have to make this hole a little bit bigger. The bulb will go in, but not the casting up here. So looks like we need to make it big enough to get this ring in it right here. Okay, so it looks like we're at about 984 or so there. So we're probably going to end up going to 1 inch. And I think probably the best way to do it is with one of these step drills. The only thing that concerns me is if the reflective material might come off in the back, and that would be not a good thing. But you've got to try it or you just don't know. Okay, I started cutting that, and this thing is jerky. It'll stop and it can cut you probably here. I was lucky it turned, and I went and grabbed my gloves, but I'm still not far enough in, and I just don't feel comfortable doing it that way. And this piece and this piece came off as I started using the burr. And that's how I'm going to finish this up. I've just got to get it in there just big enough to get that, that piece we measured right here in. Okay, just went around and took the edge off all that on the top and the bottom. And we'll just blow it out again. Okay, and that didn't flake off like I thought it was going to in there, so we're in good shape. And this will go in there like that. So this piece is on the back, and there's plenty of room inside the bulb so that the bulb on the inside is not touching the front. Got a good 3/4 of an inch, I think. But this is how it'll go. I believe this is probably up on these, if it makes a difference. So we'll just line it up with it right there. This is an H4 6V2525W, and it's made by Octane. And I've got some of these in a 3535 too. So if your machine will run a 35 watt, then you can run that. But the one that I'm running right now is a 25, I think. But they're the same. Let me see here. Oh, I thought I've already put them back. They're the same size bulb for the 35 watts. This one here was a 25-25. So that's how we'll put it together. And I'm not real sure what I'm going to do here yet. I'm going to think about this a little bit. Okay, so this is top here on the incandescent with this terminal up like this. So this one here, I'm assuming should be the same way. So what I think I'll do is use about 3 spots of epoxy, and that way when that one burns out, you can just heat it a little bit with a little propane torch and melt that, and you should be able to pop it out of there and change it. I'm not going to seal the whole thing. I think just 3 or 4 little spots should be sufficient, and it'll hit right along in here. So I'm just going to mix up some JB Weld Quick. And I'm just going to let's just kind of do it uniformly here. Put a little spot up there at the top. And then equally out here. And we'll just allow that to dry now. I think that'll work. Okay guys, thanks a lot. Don't forget to thumbs up. Okay, that's proof is in the pudding, as they say. So we've got a 6-volt battery over here. Now this, I believe this ring is not a Yamaha ring. and that's probably why I had to clearance it where I did. You know, probably the Yamaha ring would be better, or it would fit without a problem. But I had this one, and I don't have a Yamaha one. This one here was the one that had this in it. So it's a Koito or whatever it is. Those are pretty common. But it is actually a 40-20. It says right on it there. But anyhow, let's check them out. There's the incandescent. We got both filaments there. And we got both of them on our new halogen. It is the next day. I allowed this to set overnight for the epoxy to set up good, but should be in good shape there. And we should be able to use that on anything that we could use a 40-20 on. The 40-20 bulbs are still out there. Matter of fact, I just ordered a couple more of them. I think they were about 20 bucks a piece. So you can still get them, but this is alternative. And I'm sure that there's some folks out there that got a lot better way to do it than I did. I've seen a few of them that have done it this way. You know, whatever works for you. I haven't really done any of this kind of work because I've had a lot of used bikes over the years, and I've had actually quite a few used bulbs that were in still good shape. So the time is coming that we're going to have to do something with these, especially if you want to be able to ride at night and have a little more light. But there's probably some better alternatives out there, and I haven't explored the LED arena at all because I just heard problems with those. These systems may not be able to support them. So for right now, I'm just going to stop at the halogen, and we'll go from there. We'll let some other people kind of lead the way on the LED market. You know, I know they're kind of finicky. I've changed some of the light bulbs in my truck to LED for the flashers, and they won't flash. I eventually did find some that would flash, but you know, you end up spending a lot of money unless you know what you're doing, and that's something I don't have a lot of, and I really don't know what I'm doing either. So at this point, I've got this one here ready to go for the DT. That's good. And this one here I can use wherever I want to later on, and it's a halogen unit. Now I just wanted to cover another thing here. This is a unit I got off of Amazon, and that's the numbers on it. Now this one is ready to accept this halogen bulb. All you got to do is just put it in there and do it. So those of you that don't want to go through all the trouble, they've already made this so that you can just swap it in. Now I haven't tried it yet, so I don't know whether it seems like it's taller and maybe a little wider if you look at this. And So whether that's going to cause clearance problems, I don't know. But I'm going to try this at some point. And this, of course, would be a lot easier to change. You've just got a little wire here that's going to hold this in. But that's an alternative, and this thing goes over the back. But you know what is in these headlights? You know, you've got a big wad of wires in there, and if you get any more area taken up by the bulb, it can be a problem. So that's something I like I say, I haven't tried this yet, but I had bought one and I've had it quite a while. I've been thinking about this project for some time. I knew it was going to come to a point where you're going to have to do this. So I've been looking at it. I've been buying some stuff along the way, and that's what I've got currently. So that's all I can tell you that I know. But there's probably some folks out there that are a lot more well-versed, I know there is, than I am on the subject. Okay, sorry I had to change the battery on the camera. I thought I was gonna beat it, but I couldn't quite get there. Anyhow, I've been thinking about the project quite a while, and you can tell that from the fact that I've got a halogen bulb and not an LED bulb. You know, we've passed the halogen stuff, and we're now into the LED arena. And like I said, I've kind of dabbled in those with my car or my pickup, and some of those bulbs you can't get, like if you use them for a flasher or something like that. I'm talking about in the cab where the flasher is on your dash. The first set that I used, they wouldn't flash. And I pulled those out and I did some more reading, and I found these others. I put them in there and they do flash. But they seem like they're not as bright as the incandescent. So I don't know. Like, that's the kind of stuff I'm running up against. But I really haven't looked at converting a headlight over to an LED. But I'm sure there are plenty of videos on YouTube about it. I just haven't looked. I had the halogen stuff, so I thought I would go ahead and do that. But anyhow, hey, thanks for going along on the ride. See you next video.